Well, it's that time of year again, North Georgia, starting to get warm out. Everybody's out on their bikes, riding. It's time to dig the old shadow out from underneath the cover, dust it off, and get this thing ready for the summer. Went ahead and threw a new battery in it, although the other one was on a tender, but it was a few years old. Now, of course, this is not an off-highway vehicle, but it's my own personal bike. I've had this thing since it's a 2003. I've had it since 2004. Got a great deal on it, and I love the bike. I just can't let it go. Unfortunately, I don't use it enough. So what happens is these carburetors are just bad for constantly being blocked up. And I've dealt with this the entire time having it. So I've had these carburetors apart plenty of times. And the rear cylinder, the carburetor for the rear cylinder is the issue. For whatever reason, that idle circuit just blocks up and this thing will only run on one cylinder. So today we're going to go ahead and rip these carburetors out, give them a good how you doing, and get this thing ready for the summer. I had some pretty good response a couple of years back when I replaced the clutch in this thing. So I just wanted to share this with you if you're interested. And if you are, stay tuned. So as you can hear, this thing's just running on one cylinder. And obviously there's no diagnostics needed because I've been dealing with this ever since I've had the bike. Now, if I rode this thing constantly, it probably wouldn't be an issue. And I use non-ethanol fuel in this. But it's just this bike seems to give me some issues with that rear carburetor. Let's get this apart. Just got to loosen them. You don't have to take them out. Disconnect the throttle cables, get all that stuff out of our way. It's easy to get that coolant hose up out of your way. This is a pretty tight and compact quarters here that Honda stuffs all this thing in. Now, since you have two carburetors that are very, very similar, it's best if you keep the piles separate. So mark it, carburetor 1, carburetor 2, however you want to do it. Left, right, up, down, throttle side. Now, this is not going to be a full carburetor teardown tutorial because I know it's just the pilot circuits that are bad, but we're going to go ahead and give the carburetors a good clean. I'm not going to separate them from each other and change the synchronization or anything like that because the bike runs perfect. I'm just going to get into cleaning them and cleaning the ports out. So these pilot jets are almost always the culprit. The hole that goes through it is just so small, and any little thing will block it up. Can't even blow through it. Oh, it's really dirty in there. We're going to drop these in the tank anyway, so not a big deal. I'm going to just strip them down as much as we can here. Now, if you're just doing a clean, the bike used to run good for your pilot screws. Turn them in, lightly bottom them, counting the turns, so you can put them right back to where they were. I got an old little sewing deal or something like that where the tip has been bent over, and that's good for getting down and getting the washer and the O-ring out, which we're going to go ahead and replace. I can see it's the brown one. I've already replaced it. Eh, 1 1/4, I guess. They're both at about 1 1/4. Just tick over. So I'll be dropping the entire carburetor assembly in here. This cleaning solution is very, very gentle, and it's not going to damage any of the rubber parts or anything like that. So we've got the carburetors mostly taken apart. We're going to dump these in, and then I have these little baskets where we can put all the small parts in. Put that on for 30 minutes to start. smoking. At this point here, I'm going to use my compressed air. I'm going to blow through every single passage on this thing to make sure it's super duper clean. All right, everything's blown out, nice and clean, nice and free. I'm going to go ahead and put these back together. Going to do that off camera because it's basically just a reverse procedure of what we did. All right, got the carbs all back together. I had to go ahead and order this bowl heater. For whatever reason, it's cracked. I don't know why. Not having this on there is not going to affect how this runs. What it basically does is just warms the carburetors up quicker, so the bike will be ready to ride a little bit faster. But we're going to go ahead and replace that nonetheless. Now, if one of these is broken on your carburetor, you can do this right on the bike. If you can get access to it, it does not go through the bowl, so no fuel will leak out when you take it out. All right, there we go. Let's get these things back on this bike. Put a little bit of heat on these intake boots just to soften them up a little bit. They are of 2003 vintage. If you don't have a heat gun, another option is to take them off, throw them in a pan of boiling water. That'll soften them up too. All right, so we got it all back together. Got the petcock on. We may have to crank this thing a little bit so the fuel pump can pump the fuel up to the carburetors. But let's go ahead and give this thing a shot. All right, now it's time to get this thing cleaned up. and go out for a nice long test ride, because man, is it hot here today. Humidity's driving me nuts. It's got to be like 80. Terrible. Anyway, I hope this was informative for any of you guys who are about to take some carburetors apart on these Shadow 750 twins. They can sometimes be a little bit daunting and difficult to do. So it's not really that bad if you just follow some easy steps and take your time.
She's running great. Idle is super smooth. It's the same thing every time I gotta go through on this bike for whatever reason. I guess I should probably learn my lesson and cut the fuel off at the petcock and run the carburetors dry at the end of the season, so I don't have to deal with this every year. What a gorgeous day for a ride, though.
Thanks for watching. Appreciate you putting up with a street bike for a week. Also thank all y'all for your subscriptions, likes, comments, thumbs up, shares, and for purchasing the manuals. Shirts, t-shirts on the merch store are 25% off right now. Go get yourself some RSROHV swag. I would appreciate that. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.